Hello guys. So for our week 2 of our online class, we were supposed to pick a topic related to our course or careers. And in my case, I was always very interested in international trade, so I decided to make my presentation on the TRIPS agreement. Okay? So a little bit of background history. Due to globalization, many countries during the 50s, 60s would invent certain products such as electronics, even like medicine, any sort of intellectual property rights, they would be able to patent those rights with inside their countries. But there was nothing stopping from somewhere in a different country to produce the exact same product and exporting for a cheaper price. And the cheaper price would often be because of cheaper labor or access to cheaper materials, whatever. So there was no control over piracy in foreign countries. So let's say I create a product here in Germany and I create my patent here. There were no sort of protection for me if I have a competitor in China producing for a much cheaper cost the same product that I invented. And during the Uruguay round, the WTO, the World Trade Organization, decided that the TRIPS agreement would be established. What are the TRIPS agreement? It's just an agreement that every single country on the WTO must respect each other's patents, which means if I'm a member of the WTO, I need to respect, even if the guy created a product in India and he has a patent on it, he has a right for that product for a certain amount of time. Okay, so TRIPS stands for Trade Related Intellectual Property Rights. Okay, and as I said before, the country's members must respect each other's copyrights, patents, and trademarks. Now, the problems associated to the TRIPS comes mainly from the pharmaceutical industries. So for a pharmaceutical industry, when they develop a new medicine, that sometimes is essential for some people's survival, they now have the right to patent them. So the problems are the medical improvements are now slower than before due to the use of patents, because if I'm the only one able to produce a certain type of medicine, of course I cannot supply for the entire world. So I may be able, the prices are going to be very, very high because the demand is high and the supply is low, which will cause, it will be very hard for developing countries to have access to the medicine, and harder for the population on those countries to have access to medicine in general. Okay? So, due to these problems, there was something called the Doha Declaration. The Doha Declaration was mainly a result after India and Brazil primarily started to complain about it because both countries struggle hard with either AIDS or some other diseases. And for them, it was getting very expensive to get the medicine to supply their own population. So to be able to go around this agreement, they ask for, if in case of emergency, the country can just disregard the patents and produce medicine for their own for their own population. Well, this is called in many countries the generic pharmaceutical industry, which is we use the same compounds but without the brand. Okay, so, and as an example, the United States tried to cut this law down after the Doha Declaration because Brazil, 40% of the medicine related to AIDS in Brazil comes from generic industries. Which means, of course, these 40% is Brazil has 200 million inhabitants, so 40%, it's a lot of money that are being missed by those companies. So the United States tried to take it down, but fortunately Brazil stood strong against the US, and still today, in case of national emergency, a country is allowed to disregard the patents or the trademarks in certain medicines and provide their population with the medicine they need. Now, it's really important to remember that this is very dangerous because Brazil is a very big country And by late 2010, when the Doha Declaration and the problem with the United States start happening, Brazil was the seventh largest economy in the world. So Brazil was able to stand against the United States. However, a smaller country might not be able to stand strong against such a power. And this can cause population to suffer, extremely high cost for medicine in case the country can't counter argument. And yeah, we just need to keep always the surveillance over those products. We need to know if the companies are being abusive with prices, and always knows that when we should always highlight when a problem is a national health issue, or just simply trying to avoid taxes, or trying to make profits on its own. So yeah, that's my presentation on TRIPS agreement. Those are my references. I hope you guys enjoyed. It's a really interesting topic. Those are my images references. I'll see you guys next week. Thank you.